FanSided Live, we will jump in when news is breaking, and news is breaking in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs and Los Angeles Rams. Matt Verderame, our NFL insider, who I believe you tweeted out about 5 days ago, there is no way in the world the Kansas City Chiefs would ever trade Marcus Peters, one of the best young cornerbacks in the game, one of the most accomplished young cornerbacks in the history of the game, on a very affordable, friendly Chiefs team deal. They had him for 2 more years, but now product of the LA Rams for reportedly draft picks coming back. There's no Aaron Donald, there's nothing like that. So why did the Kansas City Chiefs make this move? Verderame, react.
Hey, like you said, I tweeted a handful of days ago, like it was idiocy to think that he was going to get moved, barring them getting a blockbuster haul back. Now, we don't know what the picks are, but it's unlikely that through just picks alone they're going to get a blockbuster deal. So I will eat that. I am both shocked and surprised. He's 25 years old. He's a 2-time All-Pro. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's created more turnovers than any other player in the last 3 years. And so you're right. He has, the Rams have team control at least for 2 years, and they could tag him if they wanted to, hold him for a third. The Chiefs clearly blowing this up to some degree here, to a pretty large degree, and the Rams replacing Trumaine Johnson, who's going to walk in free agency, and adding another very good piece to a defense that's coordinated by Wade Phillips. Yeah,
exactly right. And here, more on Marcus Peters, just some stats here for you, Verderame, which I know that you know, but just to put it out there, people are wondering who's Marcus Peters. You don't watch Kansas City Chiefs football every night. This is a guy who's got more interceptions in his first 3 years since the NFL merger than the only 3 that have more. Everson Walls, Ed Reed, and Richard Sherman. Those are 3 pretty good players right there. And you look at from the Rams side now, you've got 8 first-round picks on that roster. Tavon Austin, Aaron Donald, Dominique Easley, Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Alec Ogletree, Marcus Peters, Sammy Watkins.
It's not bad.
It's not too bad.
No, I think the Rams have got to feel really good about this. Look, the Rams are a team, obviously, the last year took that leap. They got into the playoffs, they won the division. And so Peters coming over replaces what they're going to lose in Trumaine Johnson. And Johnson's a very good corner, but he's not as good as Peters. Okay, so you upgrade there. You're not spending any kind of real money because Peters is a heck of a lot cheaper than Trumaine Johnson's about to be. Okay, so if you're the Rams, now we don't know the picks they gave up. Assuming they didn't give up, 2 firsts or something like that, it's a great move for the Rams. For the Chiefs, there's going to be a lot of explaining to them.
Well, okay, maybe it'll be future picks, but this year, the Rams do not have a second-round pick. They've got the 28th overall pick.
23rd.
20.
Somebody tweeted 28th, but it's 23rd.
Okay, 23. Then my bad. 23, 87, 119.
Right. After the first-round pick, there's a steep decline.
So if you're looking at it, well, what would be fair here in giving up Marcus Peters? Is that a 1 this year and a 2 next year?
I think it might be something like a 1 this year and a 2 or a 3 next year. I think it's going to be something like that. Maybe they even throw in a later round pick this year, like a 5th or something. Look, Peters is one of the more valuable commodities in the league because he's on that rookie deal. He's an excellent player at a premium position. Now, look, you got to wonder. Everybody's thinking the same thing. The Rams got a great deal, right? Unless the picks are just so outrageous that somehow it evens out. But assuming they're not, then you have to wonder, well, why did the Chiefs trade Marcus Peters?
Yeah, why did they?
I think it's a combination of they felt maybe like they needed to blow this team up a little bit on the defensive side of the ball and rebuild it. I don't necessarily agree with blowing it up by getting rid of your 25-year-old All-Pro corner.
Right.
And then the more obvious thing is maybe they felt like there were some real issues away from the field. Maybe he wasn't listening to the coaching staff. He got suspended last year. That would be the thing that makes the most sense on the surface. But that's still a huge piece to give away.
So Kansas City, built by John Dorsey, who's now in Cleveland. Now you got Brett Veach, who's GMing the trade, and everybody loved the Alex Smith trade, right?
Yes.
Let's move on to Patrick Holmes. That makes sense. You drafted him, okay, and I guess. I still feel like Alex Smith has some years left, and I think Washington will do fine there. But that everybody was on board with that deal. This is going to be quite the opposite.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of negative reaction to this in Kansas City. I think people did not expect him to get moved, and so now that he's gone, you look at that defense. That defense was terrible last year. Now they lost Eric Berry week 1. He should be back this year off the Achilles injury, and they added Kendall Fuller. And Kendall Fuller is a really good player, but he's not Marcus Peters. Okay, so you have a big issue there. You look at that front seven, it's not that good. It has a few pillars to build around Justin Houston, but it's got holes. So the Chiefs have a lot of work to do, and Marcus Peters going to the Rams is not helping.
So here, let's rewind back to why they may have made the deal. I mean,
sure.
Marcus Peters is not exactly the most calm and cool and collected guy on the field. He's got 4 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. He's got a taunting call as well. So. But that's the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Marcus Peters runs hot, right? Like, there's no question about that. You know, he thought he got thrown out of the Jets game last year. Then he came back after he went to the locker room. The team suspended him for a game.
I forgot about the referee flag that he threw in the stand.
That's what he got. Yeah. I mean, and then in Houston earlier in the year, he got into a shouting match with Bob Sutton, their defensive coordinator, on the sideline. There was talk that after the Jets game, he got into an altercation with an unnamed coach. But all that being said, the guy's never been in trouble legally. Okay, he's an all-pro player. He's 25 years old. And so for the Chiefs to move this guy, to me, there had to be more to it behind the scenes. Either he said, I'm never re-signing here, or I want out of here, you know, and I'm going to make it public if you don't move me by, you know, such and such a day. I don't know. I mean, it would seem to me there's more to this than just him being a little prone to antics on the field.
Well, you know, there was an article in the Kansas City Star a while back that Therese Paylor wrote about how, you know, Clark Hunt, the Chiefs chairman, had met with Marcus Peters and others about protests during the anthem. I mean, maybe that speculation's out there. That, I mean, Hunt said we definitely prefer that you would stand, but ultimately it's your decision. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for reasons.
Yeah, I mean, they agreed that he'd stay in the locker room during the anthem.
Right.
And so, you know, that seemed to be a non-issue. Although a lot of the fans in Kansas City were not happy that he would not stand for the anthem. That was a big talking point locally for a long time with him throughout the season. Look, I think at the end of the day, there had to be something more than just, okay, you know, he's a little bit out of control sometimes on the field. I mean, Travis Kelce is every bit as out of control on the field as Marcus Peters is. Travis Kelce's good for a personal foul every other drive, and he's still on the team. And I like Travis Kelce a lot. He's a great player. Is he better than Marcus Peters? They're probably on that same level or close to it, but like it's not like Kelce's heads and tails more important than Marcus Peters, and Kelce costs a hell of a lot more.
Right. I mean, the combined cap hit for Marcus Peters the next 2 years is $12.5 million, which is
for what you're getting.
Total
it's
dirt.
Absolutely nothing.
And Adam Schefter just tweeting 3 minutes ago, Peters have now officially agreed to, per source, can't be processed until March 5th, 14th, but Peters expected to be a Ram. So official.
They have to wait till the new league year kicks in on March 14th.
Right. So, okay, is this a rebuild?
I think it's a rebuild on one side of the ball. I think offensively, look, the Chiefs are going to Mahomes, and that was the plan since they took him a year ago.
Right.
So you're going to have him with Hill and Hunt and Kelce, assuming the Chiefs don't trade all of them by the time the new league year rolls around. Defensively, I don't think there's any question. They are blowing that unit sky high. Look, they've moved on from Peters. Berry's coming back. I would assume they continue to build around him. They bring in Kendall Fuller. They'll build around him. You know, Reggie Ragland's a young guy, but yeah, I would expect the Chiefs are not anywhere near done with fixing this defense or reshaping it, if you will.
Marcus Peters passes targeted by year. 151 times they threw at him in 2015, 91 times in 2016, 72 times
you don't throw at him.
Right. So I mean, that's huge value.
Yeah, incredible value. And the Chiefs last year, I would argue, the biggest problem that they had was their corners. They did not have any corners that could play last year outside of Peters. They were starting Kenneth Acker and Darrelle Revis and whatnot. And now,
apparently my hair's a little wild here, Verderame.
Yeah, well,
how's that?
It's Friday. Go nuts.
I'm losing it with Marcus Peters. I apologize. Hope it looks a little better.
It's going to be. Listen, ultimately, the thing that is the most perplexing about this whole thing, is by trading Marcus Peters. Well, let's say they get the Rams' first-round pick. Okay, let's just say that's part of the deal. Okay, so now you get the 23rd pick, which, by the way, they were supposed to have the 22nd, but they traded from Holmes. So now you have the 23rd pick. What is your biggest need on this team? It's probably a corner. Like, it's so you could argue pass rusher, I guess, but I mean, corner's up there, and it's. I would surmise that the Chiefs are going to be very active this offseason. You don't do all this stuff and then just sit there in free agency. This screams like they are trying to overhaul this defense in one fell swoop. But we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Well, here, let's throw another angle in there, I guess, perhaps. I mean, the Chiefs still did give up a lot of yards through the air last year.
A ton, yes.
So, okay, well, we've got this tremendous corner, but we're still giving up a ton.
Yep.
So maybe that would speak to the football decision of, hey, this is a tremendous asset. We need more assets, so we're going to try to flip them into.
I mean, and that goes into, well, what did they get for him?
Right.
And we just don't know yet. I mean, if the Rams somehow gave them 2 first-round picks, then I don't blame the Chiefs for doing it.
Right.
Then I would get it. If the Chiefs got that, it would be a historic haul for a corner. I would understand that. Even if they got a first and next year's second or something, there's some serious value in that. But you're a 2-time defending AFC West champion. Like, you're in a division where you're looking at it and saying, look, the Chargers are a good team. The Raiders now have Gruden. We'll see what they do. Denver's trying to get a quarterback. But, like, that's a winnable division. I don't think anybody thinks the Chiefs are out of the mix for winning it a 3rd straight time. Trading him is one of 2 things. Either you think he is an untenable personality in that locker room and you had to move him, or you are saying our defense is so terrible that we need as many assets as humanly possible to fix it.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's the latter on that one. But
I think it is too.
Do you think that let's make a guess on Tremaine Johnson and on where he's going?
I mean, look, there's going to be a lot of teams involved there. I think the Buccaneers are going to be involved. I think, you could look at the Raiders as certainly being involved. I think the 49ers are going to be involved, the Browns.
And who doesn't need a corner?
Right.
Really?
There's going to be a lot of teams bidding for his services alongside Malcolm Butler as 2 of the top corners on the market.
Right.
Are the Chiefs in on that now? Maybe. I mean, he fits what they do. He's a big corner. He can press at the line of scrimmage. But boy, I'll tell you, that would be interesting. You pay about 10 times more than you would have for Marcus Peters this year to get Tremaine Johnson, who's he's a good, solid, good top 15 corner in the league.
Yeah.
But Peters is a top 3 corner.
Yeah. How do you think this resonates in the Chiefs locker room? Because guys like to play with good football players.
Yeah.
And now you're trading a dude who, is 25 years old. It can't be super popular, I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, look, the only caveat being is if there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that he was just an absolute nightmare to deal with. But to be fair to him, you didn't hear that out of Kansas. You never heard players complaining about Marcus Peters.
Right.
You heard fans, but you never heard players. So I agree with you. I think a lot of players are going to say, what are we doing? Why would we trade that guy? Now, is he Eric Berry in that locker room? No. Eric Berry is almost like a father figure to some of those guys. But Marcus Peters is a great player. And he is, to me, he's been their best player over the last couple of years. So to lose that guy, that's a lot to lose. And for the Rams, that's a huge pickup. Nobody turns the ball over more than Marcus Peters does. And that's maybe the most valuable thing you can do as a defensive player.
So, okay, let's forecast the Rams right now with Jared Goff now going into his 3rd year.
Yep.
Disappointing playoff loss, but you got
still a great year.
Still a great year. Got yourself a home game, and they had a great crowd for that game, which to me
it means something in LA.
And this, I don't know if LA fans are even aware of who Marcus Peters is.
I would think will be,
but they're going to learn it soon enough. Premier team in the NFC here. I mean,
he adds a whole new dimension to that defense. I don't think there's any question. Marcus Peters gives you a lockdown corner. Now they have a lot of moving parts in free agency. They have a lot of guys who are scheduled to hit, so we'll see. But with Sean McVay at the head of that offense, that offense is going to score. So if you have a good defense with Wade Phillips as your coordinator, like Wade Phillips is not a good head coach. He's a great coordinator. I think if you're the Rams, if you're a Rams fan, you have to be thrilled to death. I don't see what downside there is, barring, again, we don't know the return, unless they just gave up an obscene amount of picks. I think it's a total victory for the Rams.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here scrolling, trying to see what's official there. I've seen a 1st and a 5th, but that's I would not. Doesn't seem accurate because it hasn't been verified by who I trust on Twitter, Verderame. But so a bunch of stuff's out there. By the way, the Chiefs and Rams are going to play each other in 2018.
Yes, in Mexico.
How's that?
That's going to be. How much you want to bet he has a pick in that game? I would bet almost any amount of money he intercepts Patrick Mahomes, and not because of Mahomes, but because Marcus Peters throughout his career. You look at their primetime games, big games. He almost always has an interception. I'd be willing to bet he's going to be going for one in that game.
Little Tyreek Hill versus Marcus Peters?
That will be incredible.
Right.
That will be fun to watch. The fastest receiver in the NFL against probably the best corner or one of the top 3 corners in the league.
So you got anything you want to say to Chiefs fans who are screaming at you on Twitter? Because you said, again, if you're just joining, this guy said right here, Matt Verderame, NFL Insider, they would never trade Marcus Peters. And
hey,
And everyone gets things, makes predictions, and sometimes they don't work out. I'm not here to dog you.
No, no,
but,
listen. Hey,
but people want to yell at you.
You can be. First of all, they can yell. They deserve to yell. Like, you can be wrong, and I was dead wrong. I had a pretty good reason to believe that they would not deal him, barring getting just an incredible haul back. And so I'm shocked. I'm shocked by it. I think a lot of people who cover the team specifically are shocked by it. But I think if you're a Chiefs fan, look, you don't know what to feel right now because there's been a lot of upheaval. I mean, how often does a team that wins 2 division titles in a row do all this?
Yeah, true.
It's a lot. So yeah. I think the right approach to it is you have to wait and see. We haven't hit free agency. We haven't hit the draft. You kind of have to let it all fall together.
Andy Reid on board with this deal? What do you think?
I think he had to be. I think that I will say, I think Andy Reid had to sign off on that deal. I don't think Veach would have done it if Andy Reid was opposed to it. I think Reid probably was consulted on it, agreed to it. I think Reid has a lot of sway in that organization. So I would be shocked if he didn't know. Although, hey, obviously not the first time I've been shocked today.
And the deal itself, I mean, there are a lot of reports out there, who knows what's true, but that the Chiefs were pushing for Robert Quinn, who apparently they're not getting in the deal. Does that ring true to you?
I got to say,
I'd take Robert Quinn.
I mean, Robert Quinn is a very good player, but he has been a declining player over the last handful of years. He's more expensive. I actually, if you're a Chiefs fan, I think you're probably better off you didn't get Robert Quinn. Not because of his talents, but because of the cap hit, maybe the fit in the scheme. But look, I think if you're the Chiefs, there's going to be a lot more coming in the next month and a half, 2 months. I don't see, I mean, at this point, if you're Veach, what are you going to stop now?
Right.
You can't. You're almost in it so far now, you have to just keep going. So I'll be very curious to see what they do moving forward because they're going to have some cap space and they're going to have some very obvious needs and really only on one side of the ball because that offense is set. It's now the defense. Yeah. And it'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
And Ian Rappaport also had out there that among the Chiefs, among the teams interested in trading for Marcus Peters, the Browns were sniffing around, the 49ers were sniffing around, which maybe means that San Francisco might be hot on Trumaine Johnson. Who knows? But apparently, they got the best deal from the Rams.
I think probably my guess would be there is the Browns are the 1st and 4th picks in the draft. They probably weren't willing to part with something that high to get Peters. And they probably said, look, we'll give you 2 seconds and a third or something. And the Chiefs said, we have to have a 1st-round pick. The Niners are going to pick either 9th or 10th, depending on a coin flip that's going to happen at the Combine. Maybe the 49ers weren't willing to part with the top 10 pick for Peters. Tough to say. But ultimately, I'm sure the Chiefs just went with whatever they felt was the best value.
Let's go top 10 free agents left. We'll have you make guesses here. Kirk Cousins, where's he going?
Denver.
Okay.
I think Denver. I think the Jets will pay any price, but I think the Broncos will rival them enough to get him.
Le'Veon Bell?
I think he'll stay in Pittsburgh.
Malcolm Butler?
That's tough. That's really tough. I think the Lions are a dark horse for him with Patricia going over there.
And Marcus Joyner?
I think the Rams will franchise him.
Okay.
They'll tag him.
I love putting you on the spot here.
That's okay.
Deion Lewis?
Also, I think a strong connection to Detroit. I think Cleveland, if they lose Isaiah Crowell, will be interested in him.
Allen Robinson? Jarvis Landry, a couple receivers?
Well, Landry got tagged with the Dolphins. He's not going anywhere. Allen Robinson, I think Jacksonville would love to have him back, but if he hits the open market, he's fascinating. Good player off the ACL tear. Could see a lot of teams being interested. The Raiders might cut Michael Crabtree. Maybe Robinson makes sense there as well.
Okay. All right, big day in the NFL. Trumaine Johnson, you better not end up in Cleveland.
I think he's going to the highest bidder. And we already talked about that, but I think there's going to be a good half-dozen teams significantly involved in on him.
Fair enough. All right, Marcus Peters, a L.A. Ram.
Yeah, he fits that city. That's going to be. They love stars.
Yes.
And he is a star. He is most certainly a star.
Matt Verderame, you're our NFL insider, and the Kansas City Chiefs are rebuilding. You want to say that?
They're rebuilding that defense, for sure, if not a complete rebuild.
Okay. Thank you for checking out FanSided Live. We're here when there is breaking news, and today was Marcus Peters going to the LA Rams in a stunner.